Good morning. Welcome again to the daily devotion about unsung heroes. Today's mug that I have, I got to turn it around, says KBC, Kentucky Baptist Convention. I had the privilege of serving in that convention as their president and their parliamentarian, and they've asked me once again, even though I'm in South Carolina, I'm their current parliamentarian. So today I want to pray for the ministries of the Kentucky Baptist Convention and the personnel there. So join me in praying for those people. Well, we're continuing along this line of unsung heroes all the way from Genesis to Revelation. And, when we think about the Bible and kings in the Bible, we usually think of David, Solomon, even Pharaoh, really, when you think about what the Bible talks about. But did you know that there could be an unsung hero that was a pagan king, mainly because he shows us some things about ourselves and how we should act. He feared God, and he was more righteous than one of our famous patriarchs of the Bible. His name is Abimelech, the king who was deceived, you could say, in Genesis chapter 20, first two verses. Now Abraham journeyed from there toward the land of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. Then he sojourned to Gerar. Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, "She is my sister." So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. Abraham, this man of faith, lied about his wife Sarah. Now, he had his reasons for lying, of course. He was afraid of this, afraid of that. But Abimelech, unknowingly then, because Sarah was very beautiful, took her into his household, thinking she was an unmarried woman. Of course, then God intervenes. He comes in a dream to a pagan king, right? And gives a warning. This in Genesis chapter 20, verse 3. But God came to Abimelech in a dream of the night and said to him, "Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is married." So God comes and warns him. Now you're a powerful king, and all of a sudden you have this dream, and God is saying to you, "You're as good as dead." And that could be very uh, that could be a scary experience. That'd be a nightmare, I think. Uh, but what does Abimelech do? Well, he pleads his case to God, verses 4 and 5 of that 20th chapter of Genesis. Now Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, "Lord, will you slay a nation even though blameless? Did he not himself say to me, 'She is my sister'? And she herself said, 'He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands, I have done this.'" So he pleads his case that he didn't intend to do anything wrong. So here's Abimelech, a pagan king, doing something surprising, having integrity, whereas the patriarch, Abraham, did not. He has a reverence for God. You can hear it in what he said. He didn't knowingly do anything wrong. He was fooled into doing it, and he's pleading for God's justice, believing God will give him justice. So God responds as you would expect God to respond in verses 6 and 7 of that chapter. Then God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know that in the integrity of your heart you have done this, and I also kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her. Now, therefore, restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours." Uh, Even though Abraham lied and he was in the wrong in this situation, God was protecting Sarah and Abimelech in this. God was acting in righteousness, and he calls Abraham a prophet. You know, just because God chooses somebody to do his work in this world doesn't make them perfect. They make mistakes. but God has a purpose in their life, and if they'll repent of that, of their sins and their mistakes, that God can still use them. So God calls Abraham a prophet and says, if we get this straightened out, Abraham will pray for you. But let me ask you a question. Who looks more righteous in this story? You have Abimelech's obedience and Abraham's, disobedience, as it were. But the next morning, Abimelech immediately calls his officials together and tells them what happened, and he confronts Abraham. So in chapter 20 of Genesis, verse 9, then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? And how have I sinned against you that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done to me things that ought not to be done." Abimelech, standing for the right. Verses 14 through 17, the story goes on. Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male and female servants and gave them to Abraham and restored his wife Sarah to him. Abimelech said, "Behold, my land is before you. Settle wherever you please." To Sarah he said, "Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, it is your vindication before all who are with you, and before all men you are cleared." Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maids, so that they bore children. So Abimelech could have been angry. It could be he wanted to go to war, but he simply listens to God, believes God, and acts on what God told him to do. He gives Sarah back to Abraham. He gives cattle and sheep and silver to show his goodwill. He tells Abraham, you can settle in the land wherever you want. And in return, as God instructed Abimelech, Abraham prays for him. God heals Abimelech's whole household. So what can we learn from Abimelech, an unsung hero of the Bible? Well, we learn that God sees the heart. Even though he was a pagan king, God works with everybody in the world. Abimelech acted with integrity, and God protected him and Sarah. Uh, we also learn in this story that fear does not justify deception or lies. Abraham was fearful of what might happen. That's why he lied. Well, as it turns out, that's not what God wants from us. Obedience brings blessings. We learn from this. So this unsung hero who feared God, Abimelech. Abimelech was one of a few pagan kings in the Bible who responded to God with humility and obedience. Even though Abraham, the man of faith, stumbled, Abimelech listened, obeyed, and did what was right. His story reminds us that sometimes righteousness comes from very unexpected places. Well, I hope you have enjoyed the devotion for today on Abimelech, and if you want to see more things like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that you will be a part of my YouTube channel. It's free of charge. If you want to know more about things that are available through Tim Searcy Ministries, just go to timsearcyministries.com. God bless you. Have a great day.